Good Sunday, everybody. This is the Cine-Men movie podcast, our bonus episode, but just like every other episode, the Cine-Men movie podcast is brought to you by Rockstar Energy Drink. It is the active energy drink for people who live active lifestyles. Grab your flavor today, whatever it is you like, and available in over 20 different flavors in 30 different countries. Rockstar Energy Drink. It's the official energy drink of the Cine-Men movie podcast.
A martini, shaken not stirred. I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Houston, we have a problem.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
I'm your number one fan.
And here we go.
Happy Sunday, and welcome to this bonus edition of the Cine-Men movie podcast. This is only the second ever bonus edition that we've had. We did one back in November for the original Evil Dead. I'm joined alongside here with Zach.
What's going on?
And Zach, this was your brainchild. Explain the reason for today's bonus episode.
So I think pretty much if you're a film fan, you've pretty much seen the movie we're going to talk about. I sent Johnny a text on May 25th, and I think it came up on like a feed or a YouTube video or something saying, hey, today is the 40th anniversary of the release of the first Alien film, which, as probably everyone knows, is probably one of the best sci-fi movies ever and spawned a whole entire franchise. Yeah. I was just like, you know what, this might deserve a little episode, considering how popular and how good the film is. Yeah. And it's one of those things also that, like, it's ironic that we are covering the, it's been out for 40 years, like you said. So why not only dig into it, but let's open up and dig into the 40th anniversary 4K edition that was released just a few months ago, April 5th, 2019. But the movie we're talking about today had a theatrical release of May 25th, 1979. It had a $10 million budget and grossed over $203 million at the box office. And people might get it confused, but this one is the one directed by Ridley Scott. Yes.
And
I think a lot of people think
James Cameron.
Yeah. It's either reversed. Either James Cameron directed the first one and Ridley Scott did the rest of them, or, vice versa. So this is going to be a little different episode. We're not going to have any segments, no movie news. I do want a small glance into your mind what you thought of Godzilla today. Yes. But other than that, there's going to be no segments. We're going to save that for tomorrow's episode, which is all about Watchmen. We'll dig a little into that, to tomorrow as well. But talking about Alien, it's one of those movies that, to me, while I watched it earlier today, and I watched it a few days ago, getting ready for this episode. It felt more like a horror movie to me than it did a sci-fi movie. Yeah. There was tons of jump scares, and to me, the pacing was excellent. This is one of the better paced sci-fi movies I think out there, because you have some slow moments, but then when those jump scares happen, it wakes you up. Yeah. But it's available out there now. You can find it dirt cheap on Blu-ray. You can find it, even the 4K 40th anniversary edition was only $14.99 at Best Buy, Walmart, Amazon, Target. It's out there. It's a really distinct, different cover from all the original Blu-ray or DVD copies I've seen. It looks like a with how do you say it? Replica?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like they used to, like a hologram.
Yeah, it's like a holographic image of the alien, but like it's like a, like the cover of the alien is like soapy. It like looks like kind of like a 3D image almost.
Like he's drenched.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was good, and this is one of the better 4K releases out there to me. For some reason, last week we covered Saving Private Ryan. Mm-hmm. It's got almost over 180 downloads on Spotify. It's got almost 20 views on YouTube. But to me, I don't know if it was meant to, but like Saving Private Ryan had a little bit more film grain, and it didn't look well cleaned up. But this copy looks really clean. They took away as much film grain as they could.
I think they kind of did that on purpose. I think with this one, we have the movie in front of us. We're kind of looking at just kind of like the set design and everything. It looks very like prestige, clean. I think they're wanting to keep Saving Private Ryan kind of grainy just because it's like just a gritty, dirty war film.
There's some of those movies that you need. I mean, the grain just helps it. And then there's some movies that I've witnessed. Some of the movies from the 40s, like those Universal Monster movies on Blu-ray, just regular Blu-ray, that they cleaned up so well that you can see, see where the makeup ends and it looks, his bare skin.
Or in Dracula, they have the string hanging to the bats.
Exactly.
Which, kind of going back to Saving Private Ryan, I'm glad we did Saving Private Ryan because it's Thursday marks the 75th anniversary of the Omaha Beach.
Thursday coming up or this past Thursday?
This coming.
Oh,
it's the anniversary of the real D-Day.
That's another thing that, like, tonight and I think tomorrow you can see Saving Private Ryan in all kinds of theaters across the country. Like, it's being re-released this weekend.
Yeah, so, for the anniversary.
Yeah, I think that's also, too, why maybe all the hits have been really high up. Maybe people are just Googling, throwing it in the Google machine, looking up for all kinds of things. But the show's definitely reaping the benefits from it. I'm not going to complain. But, yeah, I mean, you start off here with Alien. The first time you see this, where were you? How old were you? And what were your first thoughts? Or was it one of those movies that, like, with me... I was introduced to it, unfortunately, as a little kid, and I hated this movie. But as I grow, older, this movie just gets better with age.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, like, I didn't watch this one. I watched Aliens first. I was kind of introduced to Aliens, and then that was around the same time that all the AVP and all that nonsense came out.
That's a terrible time.
Yeah, for the Alien franchise. No, I went back and, actually, I think I really watched the first Alien, all the way through in college, because I got the box set of, the Quadology, all 4 films, on Amazon on, I think, Cyber Monday for, $20.
Oh, nice.
So, I got it, and I said, you know what, I know I've seen Aliens, but I really need to watch Alien, to clearly understand what the story's about.
Yeah.
And it's... So for you, at the beginning of the episode, you said its pacing is it's really good. Mm-hmm. They're just parts where it just kind of drags for me.
That's true. But, I mean, you did say you did watch the director's cut, which isn't, that's a little, is that another 15 minutes?
Barely.
What was the run time on that? Maybe 205?
No, it's not even 2 hours. I think it's an hour and 55. 56,
see, yeah,
maybe.
This is the original theatrical release, and the runtime is 156.
Oh, so yeah,
2 minutes worth of footage.
Yeah.
So no different there, but yeah, I mean, I can definitely see why there is some pacing, depending on what kind of movies you like. But as far as sci-fi goes, yeah, I mean, this feels more like a horror movie to me. What about you?
Yeah, I think, and if you want, we can talk a little bit about all the other Alien films. This one is just more just a science fiction horror, like you said. You just don't know what's around the corner. They do such a good job of just setting that up, and then it has a huge payoff. Yeah,
and I mean, we didn't even get into what we usually do. Like we said, this is kind of a bonus, so we're going a little bit all over today. But Alien is directed by Ridley Scott, and it stars Sigourney Weaver. Tom Skerritt, John Hurt plays Kane, Veronica Cartwright, Ian Holm. So, is it the $1 million cast that you're used to seeing sometimes, no. But I am surprised, for it being 1979, are you surprised that Ridley Scott wrote Sigourney Weaver in being the main survivor for the end? He may not have wrote it, but I mean, he might have come up with the story.
Yeah, do you think, in Scott's approach, do you think he always intended for Ripley to be the survivor, or do you think it was supposed to be like Brett, or what's Tom Skerritt's name?
Dallas.
Yeah.
It's really tough because, I mean, it's really tough to do a movie like this because we weren't there when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't hear any press releases. We didn't hear, anything like that. But I do believe that it was simply game changing when it comes to Sigourney Weaver being the female lead, not only by the end of this movie, but for the rest of the films to come.
Yeah.
Because today's 2019, and you still have a hard time finding a movie with a top female lead actress.
Yeah. And, the funny thing is that when Aliens came out, which was when James Cameron took over as director, it's more of like a war action film.
Yeah.
It garnered so much praise that, let me see.
Why you go?
She was nominated for Best Actress.
Oh,
at
really?
The Oscars, yeah.
For Aliens?
Yeah, Sigourney Weaver's Oscar nomination for Best Actress is considered a milestone at the time, given the little recognition to science fiction films.
I know this one, the original one that we're talking about today, won Best Visual Effects at the Oscars in 1980.
Yeah.
But while we're talking about 1979, let's listen to some of these other movies that came out that year. Alien, Apocalypse Now, Kramer vs. Kramer, Star Trek: The Original Motion Picture, Rocky II, The Warriors, Escape from Alcatraz, The Jerk, Life of Monty Python. So there's a lot of movies originally that came out that year.
Yeah.
What a year 1979
a lot of
was.
40th anniversaries.
Yeah. And speaking of, I think in August, I think I told you the 40th anniversary 4K copy of Apocalypse Now comes out.
Yeah.
I think we might have to dig into that one.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
I watched it for the first time this year, actually. Apocalypse Now. It is quite a film.
So yeah, digging into the beginning, you see the visuals right off the bat. They wake up from hypersleep. The wake up, and then out of nowhere, they stumble upon what they think it's a planet, or they automatically assume it's a ship.
I think they assume it's a ship because it's like a distress beacon, and they're just like, well, I think they're on their way home, but by protocol, she is like, we have to go find.
They couldn't find Earth, right?
Yeah. And by protocol, we have to help them, regardless of the situation.
The one thing I want to touch on right quick is you start hearing the word mother. What did you think when you start hearing them referring to...
Did you have the same thing?
Exactly.
The 2001 Space Odyssey?
Yeah.
It's like Hal, which
I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
The last time I tried to check it out was in film class, and that was like 12 years ago. So I finally don't remember it. I bought the Blu-ray copy when it came out, never watched it, and now I
have the 4K version.
So
when you watch 2001, you can tell Alien was very, not so much borrowed, it was influenced. But just the whole mother and Hal, just the comparison of them. Because I have here in my notes, mother paying homage to Hal from 2001.
So see, and that's another iconic sci-fi film. What is there's a lot of people out there that I know personally, professionally, and when we start talking about sci-fi movies, they respect 2001: Space Odyssey, but it's not for them. They don't like it.
No, I actually saw it at the IMAX at the Warren when it was re-released. Sitting in a film where you about 1,000 times you want to press pause, but it's glad you can't because it just keeps going. I understand. I respect, like you said, I respect the film. I understand why it's considered one of the best, but it's not for me. It's just so weird in the way the story's done.
Well, look at the director.
Yeah, Stanley Kubrick. Yeah, if if you get a chance to watch it, I'll be really interested to see what you
I'm
think.
I'm gonna try my very. I've been up all night for work, and then I've been up all day. I'm gonna try to watch it tonight, but if I don't watch it tonight, I will definitely give you thoughts on the Watchmen episode tomorrow.
Okay.
For recent watches. Speaking of Mother Ash,
Yes.
some odd years later, we come across this movie called Prometheus.
Yes.
He is the same equivalent as
David and Walter.
right.
Yeah.
Um,
Which I was going to ask you, and again, we're sorry, this is a bonus episode. We're just kind of jumping all over the place. What is your did you like Prometheus?
I loved it. I
loved it?
loved it. And then Alien Covenant, to me, I'm not one to say it let me down, but it fed you way too much Alien, I think.
I think the problem with both of those films is that Ridley Scott was trying to do something different with this franchise, and everyone kind of projected it's like, oh, it's an Alien sequel. It's got to be this, and that. And then it comes out, it received acclaim, but not to the extent that Alien did. And then everyone bitched and moaned about it, and so it's just like, okay, now we have a Alien Covenant, which is like a mismatch of Prometheus and Alien.
It's but Prometheus, they're prequels.
Yeah.
When Prometheus first came out and it was directed by Ridley Scott, did you already assume that it was a prequel? Because it was kind of like, was it not like not Glass, but Split, to where you really didn't know what kind of movie it was? Mm-hmm. Because I know I didn't know, like, watching it open.
When I first saw it, I was disappointed. I was like, oh, really? That's what we're doing?
You thought it was just a sci-fi standalone movie?
No, I knew it was somehow connected to the Alien universe. I just didn't know how.
Okay,
really.
Yeah, that's how I.
But I was just like, really, like.
I was disappointed that it took the whole 2 hours and 20 minutes to get to that final scene.
But at the end, it was just, I've gone back and rewatched it, and I respect Prometheus a lot more. What he was trying to do, and going into this, I don't really know, like, is Ridley Scott's plan is to lead up all the way up until you see, like, Ripley, and then it's just like, bam, you can go into Alien. Kind of what they did with Rogue One.
But do you think, after because Covenant made the box office money, I think.
Yeah.
But it didn't get very well praised.
No.
Even though I was excited as hell for it.
Yeah.
But it's still one of those films that, is there going to be a third one leading into Alien? Or what do you think?
I think that there is. I know Ridley Scott wants to do another one. I think he even wants to do a fourth one. But from different claims that I've heard, it may not even revolve around Alien, like the actual creature. It could be like a spin-off regarding the not cyborgs, but just like the humanoids or whatever you would say.
Right, like Ash or like David.
Yeah.
Going in, like, seeing some of these scenes here, now they're approaching landing on the actual, the ship. We'll skip a little bit ahead to where you kind of see the eggs. What did you think of some of the eggs?
I will say this, like, the creature design and all the, like, the little different, the eggs, the face huggers, they're just so, like, I don't know what just gruesome looking. Just the eggs, and especially in the first Alien, they're kind of like a, I don't know, how would you describe them all?
The eggs?
Yeah.
They're, if looking back at it, they kind of reminded me of the 1998 Godzilla eggs.
Yeah. Which I actually picked that up on 4K.
Have you seen it yet?
Not yet.
No. We're bouncing off all over the place, but people shit on that movie a lot.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. I like it.
Yeah. I saw it 7 times in the theater when it came out.
I saw it twice in the drive-in and then once in the theater, and then that's one of the. There's probably about 20 movies that I've had on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, and now
that's one of them.
I'm eventually going to pick up the 4K copy, but I'm looking for. I don't know why it's so expensive. Did you get yours for $24 too?
20.
20?
Yeah.
Best Buy?
Walmart. Yeah.
So yeah, that's one that's on the radar. But yeah, that's what the eggs reminded me of. Just a little small funny tidbit in the middle of the movie when they pick up the skin.
Yeah.
Did you know that was made from a bunch of latex condoms?
Yeah.
didn't know that until earlier today, and I'm like,
well,
spare no expense.
When John Hurt, we're at the scene where John Hurt's climbing into the ship, and he's eventually going to get the face hugger on him. There's a scene where he's using his flashlight to kind of look at the egg, what's inside. On the commentary, they said that Ridley Scott said that was his hand as the face hugger in the egg. So I was like, okay, that's cool. And this right here, we're looking at a scene where John Hurt is looking at like this giant alien.
Looks like almost like a shooter.
Yeah, I always thought it looked like a microscope or something.
Yeah, you can say that too.
That right there is like,
that's in Prometheus, though, right?
Yeah. The engineer's seat in the Prometheus ship. So it's just, I understand like he's trying to put these little tidbits here and there, but at the time when he was making this, it's like he wasn't fucking thinking about Prometheus or any of that. He was just trying to create like a cool like set design,
which is an amazing set design. And looking at it here on this 40th anniversary edition, do you find it amazing what they can do with an old movie about going back and redoing some of the stuff? Even taking a VHS or a DVD copy and making it into a Blu-ray copy. Mm-hmm. How bizarre is that to just sit there and wrap your head around that?
It's crazy because like that. Because there's certain parts of the film that look like you can tell that's all real, like they built it from scratch, which they don't normally do nowadays.
Oh yeah, that would probably be all CGI.
Mm-hmm. And then like in the background, there have been several scenes that I noticed when rewatching it that there are like matte paintings. It's just kind of just stilted in the background, and it looks real. I mean, it looks incredible.
What did you think about the face hugger, or the face? What did you call it?
The face hugger.
The face hugger.
Yeah.
Because even nowadays, that would probably be all CGI. I need to revisit Covenant because I haven't seen it since the day one Blu-ray release. Mm-hmm. But even that movie still had some actual
prosthetics. Yeah. The funny thing is, it's just like I don't understand these films and that like they always do that stupid sci-fi trope where they take off their mask. Mm-hmm. And like, oh, we can breathe. There's air,
like Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah. But in this film, John Hurt has the mask on, and then the alien, the facehugger, goes through the glass. Like, that's not even stopping it. Mm-mm. It just kind of melts it away.
And then it almost shoots the baby into his face. Right? That's how it gets into his body.
Yeah, it like latches on. It has like this like tentacle that goes down into his chest and like plants the egg.
And then, like, we're going to skip ahead just a little bit, but, like, after it latches onto him, what did you think of the scene where he's eating and then it starts just coming out of his chest and you see the blood splatter out of his chest?
I think I had that on, didn't we do an episode, like, the best top 5 scenes or something like that?
No, not yet. But they did have something like that in Covenant too, didn't they?
Yeah. Almost
an exact scene, almost. But going into this scene
Last Supper.
And the scene we're getting ready to talk to now, we're skipping ahead about 50 minutes into the movie, and it's legitimately called The Last Supper.
Which is ironic considering what happens.
Something like this back in the day, could you imagine going to a theater and seeing this? You have, what do you have there? 5 guys, 2 chicks, mm-hmm. and in the middle of this movie, we knew it all along because, us being our age and looking at this movie, the only name we know really is Sigourney Weaver. Mm-hmm. But could you imagine being there in 1979 and just out of nowhere, she's just the last one standing?
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, I don't know if that was like by design or if Ridley Scott wanted, or it was just kind of like, we'll just kill these characters off one by one and just see who stands type of thing. I would have loved to sing this scene with a big group of people back in 1979.
I bet it was silent.
Oh my god.
But man, you wanted to talk about some of the other Alien movies. Aliens was 1986, almost 10 years after Alien.
which is crazy.
I mean, I thought maybe it would have been like an 80 or an 81 release, but 86?
Yeah. I think the problem is with that is that, James Cameron took over, like I said, and he was like, well, we can't do that again. There's no way we can replicate that. And so I think they just kind of had to come up, really brainstorm or come up with an idea of where they could take this franchise. Is
that the franchise and the studio picking another director, or is that Ridley Scott just not wanting to do it again? Do you think?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think Ridley Scott didn't really want to do it again, and then James Cameron had a huge success with the Terminator, and there was like, okay, we could get this guy to do it.
Because it's almost like a Terminator kind of thing. I guess we can let a little bit of this play.
Yeah.
That's the alien just now, splitting out of his chest. I like how, what I like about it, and how this got heavily criticized, how it felt real for a sci-fi movie, and it feels real because they're treating him as if he's having a seizure. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm. Ridley Scott didn't tell Veronica Cartwright what was going to happen. I don't think anyone knew in the scene what was happening. And then when the blood squirts on her face, that was a real reaction. Like, she wasn't expecting that at all.
That's pretty priceless. The alien just came out of his chest and running across the floor.
It was like a magnetic. I think they say it was like a magnetic puppet that they used to pull under the table. It's just like you get these fun facts either from like the making a featurette or the commentary, and it's just like, yeah, like. Thinking about it now, just how films are made, it's like that's genius what they're able to pull off back then.
And nowadays, I don't know if you would call it just being lazy or if we're just so.
I think we're spoiled. Just Juan, you said a little bit earlier. I went and saw the new Godzilla earlier today, and I can give like a quick 3-second review, and I loved it. It was like everything you want in a Godzilla film, but at the same time, when you watch something like this, it's just all, Godzilla's mostly all CGI, which is fine, especially considering what we're dealing with. But this, you're looking at sets, you're looking at models, you're looking at...
You appreciate it.
Exactly. Prosthetics, the whole alien, when it's finally grown, is a guy in a suit.
Yeah.
I
have some interesting stuff here in the notes right quick. Since we're talking a little bit more about disc, its actual self, as far as the quality goes out of picture on this 4K disc, I gave it a 4 out of 5. That's pretty high as far as I go. Mm-hmm. Not a lot of... one of the highest 4K movies I've seen as far as like really good picture goes is Passengers with Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
That looks amazing. And then sound.
What's it like because I just watched the Blu-ray, the one that I have. So.
Sound, I gave it a 5 out of 5. The sound to me is as good as it gets. Even on the Blu-ray copy, it's really, really good as far as sound. And honestly, the Blu-ray copy is not different other than just film grain.
Oh, really?
They just cleaned it up, and it's just a little bit more brighter. The dark scenes are black instead of grainy and smoky.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, when it comes to 4K, honestly, you're just looking at color.
Yeah.
And then how much film grain they pick up and clean up. Unless you're watching something that's like Justice League or one of those kind of movies, like The Avengers.
Mm-hmm.
Infinity War is out of this world.
Yeah.
Which, until right now, if you want to watch Avengers 4K, you don't have to go out and buy the disc because Netflix streams if you have everything you need to upgrade.
Yeah, that is true.
But yeah, going back to this movie itself, I'm going to probably say it until the episode ends, but it just feels like a horror movie. And then the sequences in between the jump scares is like probably one of the greatest pacing sci-fi films that you could probably see between 1979 and I would even go as far as like maybe today.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we'll give it away tomorrow on Monday's episode. But as far as the top 5 go, sci-fi movies,
I think both of us are going to have this on there.
You know, man, I will. I mean, I'll mention it. But this could also be something that makes a top 5 horror movie. Because the blood, the guts, the jump scares, and let's talk about the soundtrack. The soundtrack is
Jerry Goldsmith. I mean, it's just it's definitely one. It's a score that definitely incites doom, incoming doom, or something that's not going to be good.
And if you guys follow the Cine-Men Movie Podcast on Facebook, which you can find it on facebook.com/movie reels REELZ 405. You know, I'm gonna play the it's just a small bit of some of the soundtrack that you can find, which I use to make a little a video. But like the 10 seconds that you hear of that is just, it's creepy, it's eerie. These these alien movies, they don't get better with age. I'm not talking about this one or the second one, but 3, 4.
Okay. So
I hit a nerve.
Well, okay. I have all the alien films ranked from obviously the best to the worst.
We can do that. Kind of be a top 5 filler.
Yeah, there you go. So I'm just gonna do 1 to 5 or however many.
1 to 4.
Yeah, I have Aliens, Alien, Prometheus, Alien Covenant, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection. I know Alien 3 gets a lot of shit, but I can appreciate what Fincher was trying to bring to that film.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like a Joan of Arc story.
Anybody else tries to direct that, and I think it's a hot mess.
No, yeah, absolutely.
I would probably go Aliens, Covenant 3, Prometheus, and Resurrection.
Wow, you have Prometheus significantly lower.
Just because it doesn't feel like an alien film until the last maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It feels like it's just a general sci-fi film.
It just looks like another Ridley Scott, like, weird science fiction film. Yeah.
But I mean that's a good way of listing it. Since we're on the subject, let's talk Ridley Scott. What do you think of some of his other stuff that maybe he's done that you think he gets a lot of shit for?
I think
he's still slated to do Gladiator 2.
Really?
I mean, it's on the upcoming
release schedule for him. You know, it's like, all right.
Yeah.
You know, I think Ridley Scott, he's an interesting guy where, you know, he can do something like Alien, and then he can do American Gangster, and then he can do Exodus, which is, I don't find Exodus a very good film now.
The Counselor, I like that. Javier Bardem, Brad Pitt.
Mm-hmm. Did you see All the Money in the World?
Yes.
I think that was
I liked it.
Underrated.
Yeah. Which, I mean, if you're interested in The Counselor or that film, you can pick it up at Big Lots on Blu-ray for $3.
But the funny thing is, he does like these weird films like Body of Lies with DiCaprio.
Robin Hood?
Yeah. And then
Body of Lies wasn't terrible.
No. I think it's one of those like weird like Leo films that like, oh, he did that? I forgot. A Good Year. Have you seen that?
I haven't, but he did American Gangster.
Oh, and he also did, which I think is a very underrated film, Kingdom of Heaven.
So I haven't seen that yet.
Oh, that's really... You need to check that out.
He kind of had a love affair with Russell Crowe.
Yeah. And then, like, in 2003, from 2000 to 2003, he did Gladiator, Hannibal, Black Hawk Down, and Matchstick Men.
Unbelievable.
That's a pretty good... Well, depending on how you feel about Hannibal, it's a pretty good run.
Don't forget G.I. Jane.
Thelma and Louise, which that's just one of those. I'm just like, oh yeah, he did that. I forgot.
And that's like one of Brad Pitt's first movies.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen that, though. I have it, but I haven't seen it.
And Legend. It's a Tom Cruise movie. That's like a mythical fantasy romance film.
When somebody talks to me about movies, the first thing, I don't know why people are obsessed with that movie, because I haven't seen it yet, but that's the first thing that comes out of their mouth. They ask me if I have that movie. So I'm thinking I'm going to have to go eventually buy it. There were the condoms, by the way, in that scene.
Oh, yeah. It was a skin, yeah. Yeah, it's either that or the Dark Crystal. And I haven't seen the Dark Crystal.
Neither have I.
And I'm just like, I don't understand why people love it so much.
I'm going to get a lot of heat for this, but Pan's Labyrinth?
Del Toro?
No, the other one. My bad.
Which one?
What's his name? The port.
Labyrinth, is that what you're talking
about? Labyrinth. Not a fan of that.
I haven't seen it. It's like it's a Labyrinth, the Dark Crystal, and Legend. That's like those three that people like have. It's like a cult following for those films, and like I haven't seen none of those three, so I'm just like I don't understand.
I've seen one of the three. Don't get me wrong, Labyrinth was good, but I just didn't see the
appeal.
Yeah, maybe it's the Muppets too. I'm not sure. Jim Henson did that movie, didn't he? Didn't he help with the puppeteering?
Yeah.
Man, talking about more of this film, somebody who hasn't seen Alien and say they're our age, but they don't like to go out and look for older movies, whether it be digital, they want to find it on, on demand. You could probably find this now on HBO on demand, Stars on demand. You could find this movie probably pretty easy.
Oh yeah.
How do you get somebody our age or in college or, maybe high school or even, or somebody around that age to just maybe go see this movie? I mean, there's even some 30-year-olds that haven't seen this movie.
It's
This is your first.
That's a great scene.
This is your first scene at the first look at the Alien on actual 4K.
That looks like.
Yeah.
And a quick fun fact, where Brett is trying to get the cat, the way they're able to get the cat to do that reaction is they had a German Shepherd on the other side of the actor.
Oh, nice.
The actor, and so
you don't think
they would show. They had a thing between the cat and the German Shepherd every single time that they need to get the reaction. They just showed it, and it would have that. You
would think that the guy in that massive alien suit would do that.
I know, because it's a creepy Yeah, it's just nasty looking. And I love the cat's reaction. It just watches as Brett gets taken away.
Almost kind of like a watch along here, but we're not watching the entire 2-hour movie.
We're just kind of going through the film and just picking out some scenes.
Yeah, and I think that's a formula that we did excellent with last week on Saving Private Ryan. Mm-hmm. We got a lot of praise for it. I'm going to mention it more tomorrow when we actually talk about last week's episode. We got praise for it, and it got over really, really well. So I think that might be a formula we pick up, where we sit here and kind of just talk about maybe our favorite scenes and explain to some people, hey, at an hour and at an hour and 7 minutes, go back and check, and that's when you see the full-size Alien for the first time.
Yeah.
So I think that's a formula that's going to work, and I think it's something we're going to keep. It might be a little difficult tomorrow because Watchmen is a 3-hour film. I don't know which one you watched.
I watched the director's cut, and I still have 2 hours and 6 minutes to go.
Okay.
I'm an hour into it.
I got to ask you about something later on, but as far as it goes, Alien, where do you rank it? I know we're going to talk top 5 sci-fi movies tomorrow, but where do you rank it as far as maybe, where do you match it? Let's match it since we're going to rank them tomorrow. Alien, Terminator,
right?
Alien, Godzilla, 1997 or 2014. Or is Alien something? Say you had the opportunity to go watch it on the IMAX for $18.50. Would you pay the $18.50?
No.
No.
No. I while I can we'll do grades here in a little bit. While I can acknowledge this is a very masterfully crafted film, it's not one that just hey, I'm gonna pop in Alien. it's just something I have to be in the mood for.
That's true.
You know, as part of my recent watches that we'll talk about tomorrow, I went back and watched Godzilla, the 2014 Godzilla, to get ready for the new one. And that film goes by so fast. It's just like, the beginning, Godzilla, boom, you're done. This one takes a little bit more time, and that's fine for a film like this. It's just, sometimes you just kind of want to get to the good stuff quicker.
The meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
I didn't mind this film as far as pacing goes, or wanting to hurry up and get to the alien, fighting scenes or whatever. But
it's precious. What they have in this film, with the alien itself, they use very well. I will say that they spread it out to a perfect keel. I do like how actually almost there's not a wasted scene. I don't think in this movie. No.
To where you could cut that out, and you might be like, oh, we don't need that. Let's cut it out. The hour and 57 minutes that this film is worth the entire film. Like, I don't think there's a scene that you can just throw away in the film be the same. So
we're about to get to the scene now where Dallas goes into the air shaft, and he eventually gets taken, and that's a good jump.
And we'll tell you right there. That is the. Am I past it?
No, he's still going.
While he's going up through the shaft, what did you think of Sigourney Weaver? As far as do you think this is what she will always be known for? People to this day are still waiting to see even a CGI cameo of her in one of these alien flicks.
Yeah, I do think that. I think this is Sigourney Weaver's best. I don't know if this is her best performance as Ripley, but I think this is her starring vehicle. And she's. I've heard in numerous interviews she's up to do another one.
Really?
She wants to do Alien 5 or whatever.
And she's still physically, she's still on top. For her age, she's in pretty good shape.
I think she's in her 60s. I think.
Yeah.
But still, she can still do most of her. I don't know about intense stuff, but the running and all that. I think what would be a smart move is that if you bring Sigourney Weaver back to do an alien film, it kind of like what they did with Jamie Lee Curtis. While they didn't kill Jamie Lee Curtis, I think they should do something like that.
Now, you're talking about what Halloween are you talking about? 2018?
Yeah. Kind of bring Sigourney Weaver back to kind of do a final battle with the alien. And so much, not...
But see,
I retract my statement. You don't have to kill her, but just kind of send her off.
In this franchise, now we're just doing some fantasy booking.
Right there.
That is creepy.
Yeah.
That is really creepy.
And on the Blu-ray, you can tell. Rewind it. On the Blu-ray, he moves the light a little bit where you can tell he's back behind there. On that scene in 4K, I don't think I even noticed that. That's good.
And that's an hour and 16 minutes roughly. That the alien takes his second victim, which his name was Dallas.
Yeah.
Which I thought, I didn't think, but he is portrayed as maybe one of the main characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an hour and 15 minutes and 40 seconds is when you see that is one of the better jump scares. Alien versus Predator. One or two? Which one you got to pick?
Oh God.
Have you even seen them?
Yeah.
They're not very...
I was so excited about Alien versus Predator. It's one of those things where as a kid you're just you don't really give a fuck about what people think about it. You're just so excited about it.
It's like Freddy vs. Jason.
Yeah. But now that I'm older and I understand what that movie is, I'm just oh. But yeah, Alien vs. Predator is way better than the problem is with Requiem, you can't fucking see anything. It's so dark, and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that was by they wanted to film it that way, but it's just bad.
Going back into the film itself, we don't have we're not going to sit here and digest scene by scene, but now we're going up to roughly an hour and 25 minutes into the movie. And everybody starts
freaking out. And it's revealed that Ash is a robot.
Which is like David, Michael Fassbender's character in Prometheus and
Covenant.
What do you think? Do you think this? How much money do you think is still in Alien? You think it's a big box office draw?
I don't know, man, because like when I went and saw Covenant, there wasn't. I saw it in the IMAX, which you don't have to.
Wasn't sold out.
It wasn't sold out at all.
Did you go opening night or Friday night?
Sunday afternoon.
Oh, that's a busy time for a movie theater.
Yeah.
Everybody's off on Sundays usually. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I can. That's. It's kind of worrisome because I know, like, I don't know. What do you think? You think they should do another one, or you think they should just leave it alone? I think you should do one final one just so we can get an ending to Covenant and make it lead into Alien, and then be done with it. Don't ever touch it again.
Maybe like 100 years after Ridley Scott's been gone, you can do like a remake.
Maybe, but even if then, it probably wouldn't.
But it will never match what this one was.
A few weeks ago, we did our top 5 sequels. Mm-hmm. This is one of the few movies that the sequel, to a lot of people, outdoes the original.
Absolutely.
A lot of people. Terminator 2, Godfather Part 2, Empire Strikes Back. A lot of those movies are better than its original. Okay, so just a few weeks ago, we did our top 5 sequels. And, films like Judgment Day, Terminator 2, Aliens, they were on some of our lists.
Right.
Do you think, out of those 4 that I named, Terminator 2, Aliens, Godfather Part 2, Empire Strikes Back, can you think of anything else outside the box that maybe the sequel could outdo the original?
Endgame?
Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know how you call that I guess you could call it a sequel, really.
Yeah, but the problem is with Endgame, it's more of a continuation.
Yeah. Approaching the final scene is the self-destruction as Mother counts down.
Yeah. Which is really like, talk about a scenario where it's just like, anytime you hear, like, for me, I don't know about what you, like, when the emergency broadcast system comes on, it's like, beep.
I get paranoid.
Yeah, and like that, it was just stressing me out. I was like, 10, 9.
Whether it's in a movie or not.
Like, is she going to get out of the ship? What's she doing?
Do you think, same movie company, but the ending of Predator kind of is almost the same ending as this?
Which Predator?
The original one.
Oh, the original. Okay, I thought we were talking about that.
No. I'm talking about the one with the governor in it. Both governors in it, actually.
Dude, it's been such a long time since I've seen the first Predator. It's a countdown, right? Mm-hmm. He kills the Predator and the ship's about to blow up.
Well, the Predator's trapped, and he's like, the alien knows he's not going anywhere, so he does his self-destruction.
That's right.
And Arnold's like, he's got to run the fuck out of there.
Yeah. Yeah, that... It kind of resembles that, but I don't think it's done as well.
So she's picking up everything. She hauls ass. Another thing I gotta mention. I don't know if this is a glitch in the 4K disc or Blu-ray system itself, but numerous times I have paused a 4K movie. I'm old school. I still have the 4K player and the remote. I'll pause it with the disc in there, obviously, and then when I go back to hit play, the voices don't match up with.
That sometimes happens, because I was watching John Wick.
4K?
Yeah, and they weren't matching up, and then I just rewind a little bit, and it
Or you have
up.
Or what I do is I stop the movie completely, and then hit play.
Yeah.
But Blu-rays, it doesn't do that.
Yeah.
So I guess that's just a glitch that they need to hurry up and fix, because we're spending a lot of money here.
Yeah, $30. Thanks, guys.
Let's talk about that for a minute, because this is kind of a 4K episode. What enables you to go buy one of these black little slick discs? I know it sounded like I said something else, but one of these black little movie cases that
with the luxurious 4K on top of the box. You know what, man? It's going to take a lot for me to spend that type of money.
Because last week,
which is ridiculous, because I just said I spent $20 on the 1998 Godzilla.
Which is, $20 is reasonable.
Yeah,
I'll do 20, maybe 24 pushed it if I really like the movie.
Are you going to buy the 4K version of Captain Marvel when it comes out? Okay. What about us?
Probably.
Okay. Definitely Endgame.
Yeah.
But like, I think it has to be a movie that like
that uses the technology really well.
Yes, because like I'm actually really excited to rewatch Godzilla in 4K.
I would be too. You're talking me into it. Where I honestly might go to Walmart in the next 20 minutes after this episode and probably go pick it up.
Because like, I don't know, man.
There's some
they
movies...
re-released the toys. They were going to re-release the Toy Stories this week, getting ready for 4 in 4K. $30 a piece.
Let me tell you something about those. We did the test last week. One of the best Disney movies out there that they reamped from DVD to Blu-ray, The Lion King.
Yes.
The Lion King Blu-ray looks 10 times better than the DVD.
Yeah.
The Lion King 4K...
I didn't see much of a difference.
Looks about identical to the Lion King Blu-ray, other than it's just a little bit brighter and the colors pop just a little bit. Does that make me... I'm not going to go spend $30 a pop for the Toy Story movies.
No.
I think with animation, Blu-ray is as good as it's going to get.
And they did re-release the Toy Stories on Blu-ray DVD. And those are the ones that I got.
Now, let me tell you something that I am impressed with. If... I blinked out there for a minute. The 4K copy of newer Disney movies, those look stunning. I got Incredibles 2 on 4K, and when they have their little suits on, it looks like you can tell the suit's made out of rubber.
Yeah.
But if it's something like,
What about Mary Poppins Returns?
I didn't see anything other else. That's the only copy I saw was the 4K.
Okay.
So it looks pretty slick. But I am... You know what 4K does for me, though? Is it's got to be an older movie like this to where you can really tell if they cleaned it up or not. I don't know if anybody uses it, but if you want to check out what the best quality is as far as what kind of... what's the best, one of the best 4K copies or of anything you can get out there, I go to highdefdigest.com, and they give recommendations of 4K movies. So this one I probably will buy because it's getting a 4 out of 5 stars on the visual, and it's going to be $40 for Ghostbusters 1 and 2 on 4K.
Oh, really?
So, I mean, that's usually how I get my fix, or what I think is going to be one of the better movies out there.
The meat and potatoes, as you say?
Yeah. Honestly, I'm probably going to get Batman Returns, Batman Forever, and Batman and Robin. Godzilla got a 4.5 out of 5. Which
I'm
means,
really excited now.
Which means that's usually pretty good. The Witch, Alien got a 4 out of 5. So Godzilla was a little bit higher than Alien as far as quality goes, and this looks pretty damn good.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend it. HighDefDigest.com. Black Hawk Down almost got a full 5 out of 5. But going back to Alien now. Finishing up the movie, the last scene, she blows him up. But how does she blow him up, Zach?
Well, what she doesn't know is when she's on the escape pod, the alien kind of smuggles or secretly gets into the ship. And, so basically he's got to blast... Ripley's got to blast the alien out of the ship, which is kind of a cool way she does it. She opens the pod bay, the doors... He falls out, and then he tries to sneak into the engines and just blasts.
Now, why does that sound familiar? For some of these younger kids, that's how Spider-Man took out Ma, right? In Infinity War.
Oh, that is right. Oh, yeah, because he says, "Have you ever seen a really old movie called Aliens?" And yeah.
So she pretty much escapes. She puts herself into hypersleep. And it sets up going into the second one, but little does she know that he's on board with her, right?
Yes, it is. That is kind of like a. I think it's kind of like a cheap thrill. It's just like she reaches for something and the hand pops out, tries to get her.
No, that's at the end of this one, right?
Yes, But at the end of the day, really, they could have just ended the film there. She blasts him out. There's no more. She kind of does like a log saying, "I'm this sole survivor, and I will reach Earth."
See, even the scene where the ship explodes right there on the Blu-ray and DVD copy, that was kind of grainy. But I mean, that's how you know if I'll go spend money on it. I always look at highdefdigest.com before I go out and spend money on a 4K copy.
Yeah.
Especially if it's like 3 or below, I won't go get that copy.
Well, something else too is just like you can get. If this is $14.99 right now, I bet you this is gonna be like $7 on Black Friday.
Probably, yeah.
That's
true, and you get the 4K copy, the Blu-ray copy, and a digital copy.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's not bad money spent.
No.
But man, we'll do a little bit of a star rating, even though we have, we do that on our full two-hour episodes. But as far as star ratings go for this one, you've already said it. You've already let the cat slip out of the bag. That speaking as she's pulling the cat out of the bag,
that lined up perfectly.
You said that Aliens was your favorite out of the two. So going into the star rating for this one, what would you pick?
Aliens for me is a 9.5. This is a 8.5. Yeah, Alien for me is 8.5. I think, honestly, if you said, Juan, that there's really no wasted scene, I'm different. I think there's maybe one or two scenes they could have cut out. I think they could have made this like an easy hour and 40-minute movie, like 10 minutes maybe. But overall, it is like I said, it's a well-made film. Ridley Scott I think he's very proud of this film, and I think it will stand the test of time. What about you, Juan?
We didn't read the synopsis like we normally do, or the little leading into it. This bonus show is all over the place. But man, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Just to, no 8.5, just an 8. And even movies I think is good, I'll still give it maybe like a 7 or an 8. Mm-hmm. If I really, really like it, I give it a 9 or a 10. Are
you going to give it a 9 now that Sigourney Weaver's like stripping down?
Now it's probably going to be an 8.5. But yeah, to me it's going to be an 8. I don't have any issues with it. It's still the jump scares to me are excellent. Looking back at it, the quality of the disc, the sound, everything is top notch. Like for $14.99, that's one of probably the better 4K movies you can get. I also picked up Terminator 2 when it first came out a few months ago, and that was $14.99.
I've heard. I think Terminator 2 has like such a horrible reputation. The transfer over, it just looks bad.
Oh, from DVD to Blu-ray?
Yeah.
The Blu-ray looks bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Blu-ray looks terrible, but I was really surprised with the 4K copy. No grain. It was pretty good. But yeah, I mean, I would, if you're a sci-fi fan, if you're an Alien fan, I would recommend this. Go pick it up. $14.99 is not a bad get. If you don't want to spend the $14.99, I saw it I think it's $5 on Blu-ray, or $6.99. That's also, you get the Blu-ray, DVD, and you get a digital copy with that as well. So, as far as that goes, Alien, 40th anniversary, excellent movie, 8 out of 5 for me. Zach gives it an 8.5. I want to get some of your early thoughts on Watchmen, but I'm going to let you finish it. I told Ed earlier, which Ed was not able to join us for this bonus show.
I think you'll do a bonus episode with him.
I'll do a bonus episode with him in July. This is going to be our bonus episode for the first part of June. This is also going to be the first episode you hear on Twitch. And we're going to try to get this uploaded not Twitch. This is going to be the first episode you listen to on the Patreon. Oh. So this is, for everybody who's subscribed and listens to us on YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, wherever you've listened to your podcast at, thank you. We appreciate it. Everything has been going up since September, and this September is going to be the 1 year anniversary, and we got bigger things to go for that. So, man, I think that might be done.
I think we're good.
I still want to get your thoughts on Watchmen. What you said you're watching the director's cut?
Yeah.
I was going to reveal it tomorrow, but just me and you and whoever's listening out there now. Have you seen the graphic novel? Have you read that?
No.
Did you know anything about Watchmen before you watched the movie?
I knew it was based off a comic book, but a graphic novel, but I didn't know anything much about it.
The graphic novel is considered the godfather of graphic novels.
Oh, okay.
It's one of those graphic novels that they were going to just try to publish by themselves, but they ended up having DC picking it up. It's really, really good as far as a graphic novel goes, but I highly recommend, if you're watching it on Blu-ray, if you don't understand it, I highly recommend you watch the Zack Snyder watch-along, where he stands and gives you the timeline and explains the detail of the film for you. That's for anybody out there. If you're having a hard time with Watchmen, try to watch the director's cut and then watch it with Zack Snyder, where he pops up and talks to you about certain things as far as the Watchmen timeline goes. It's just different. So, Zach, do you have anything you want to talk about before we head out?
I think that's it. I'll give my review of Godzilla King of the Monsters tomorrow with the Watchmen.
Tomorrow is going to be all about the Watchmen. We give our top 5 sci-fi movies. We're going to have recent watches. Ed's going to have his Fabulous 4. Zach, you're going to talk to us about the box office. Who's in the top 5? Who fell out of the top 5? That they're 50.
And a little something. Someone got almost getting close.
Yeah, but they're 52%. They dropped out. They're falling super, super fast. But now, we're going to find out who's in, who's out, recent watches, top 5, and we're going to talk all about Watchmen tomorrow on the Monday regular edition of the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Who's watching the Watchmen? We are, right here on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.
Say goodnight.